Good morning. This is Dr. Todd Lee with ToddLeeMD.com, OperationRagnarok.us, and Valhalla-Labs.com. I'm going to talk to you today about something you need to know. Building muscle. Getting a pump is critical for building muscle. Some people did not know that, so I would specify. Some people think it's just about lifting heavy weights. It's amazing what some people think. I could probably do a video of just myths and be nice while I do the video, because you got to be sensitive. So, we're going to talk about pump. How do you get a pump? What are the 6 most important things to get a pump? I'm going to tell you, and you're not going to believe me. I'm going to tell you them in order, and you're not going to believe me. You're going to think that the secret is the last ones because they're black market and dangerous. Because you think the secret is living on the edge. It's what we don't want you to know. It's what's being hidden from you is the secret. Do you know what the secret is? People don't want to do hard work, and they want shortcuts. And so if there's a price tag, then people think it's a shortcut. And so if it's black market, people really think it's a shortcut, and the price tag goes up. And so everyone starts buying drugs, and nobody does the real stuff, the stuff that really works. So I'm going to tell you in order, and you're not going to believe me. You're going to think I'm full of shit. Number 1, water. Water is the most important thing for a pump. Water is what swells the muscle and pushes on the fascia, and the fascia recoils inward, and that force drives the contraction. Water is the key. And that brings us to the second thing, sea salt. Unlike table salt that draws water out of the muscle, out of the organs and into the vessels, increasing blood pressure, sea salt drives water to the muscle. And according to the studies that I have all over the place on that particular article for high blood pressure, which I'm not going to get into because this is not the scope of this, but sea salt, in my professional medical opinion, as a medical doctor and a biochemist and an international champion bodybuilder, is fine for people with high blood pressure. Within reason, because it drives water everywhere where it's supposed to go. It is not to be confused with table salt at all. I am not endorsing using table salt and any man, woman, and child on planet Earth. I'm saying that all life forms on Earth came from the sea according to evolution, if you believe in Darwinism, and that in the sea was sea water, and sea water is sea salt plus water. So what we should be consuming is sea salt. That's it. I'm not going to get into blood pressure stuff because it's very complicated for people who don't understand science or physiology, and unfortunately that's a lot of nephrologists these days. So I'm certainly not going to argue with a doctor about blood pressure. I'm not going to argue with a layperson about blood pressure. Just like endocrinology, it is what it is. So endocrinologists typically don't know what they're doing in America. Maybe in other countries, sure as fuck not here. So we get to the point of water, and sodium drives the water into the muscle. That's the second most important thing for a pump. Third most important thing for a pump is carbohydrates, because you need glycogen in order to have water swelling in the cell. I'm not saying you need carbohydrates to grow muscle. I mean, I am, but not in this argument. We're not going to go there. We're not going to talk about diet. We're not going to talk about calories. We're not going to talk about insulin, none of that. Although insulin also does get released by carbohydrates, and it also drives water and carbohydrates and amino acids into the cell, creating a better pump. But that's another point. We'll get to that in a little bit. The point I'm trying to make is that just from a hydraulics standpoint, the muscle is stronger if there's water in the cell. The muscle grows from a stretch mechanism. The fascia stretch from a stretch mechanism that's all from internal pressure in the cell, which is all from water being driven in because of the presence of sea salt, and the carbohydrates along with water form glycogen, which then causes permanent pump and stretchage of the cell. That's what causes it to grow one way. The other is mechanical damage from heavy weights through MGF and IGF-1. And that brings us to part 4. The fourth most important thing does have a price, and that is a pre-workout. I designed Fenris Fury, the best pre-workout in my opinion, because it's for the purpose of getting a pump, not just giving you a bunch of stimulants for you to be addicted to. The pump is, I'm going to put this out just so you can stare at it in all its magnificent glory. It's like, I don't want to look at your face, Todd. F your face. All right, so if you notice, the light beam is now obscuring it, so you can't read the label. It says valhallalabs.com, Fenris Fury. So, I'll move this aside. Oh, I can't move it to that side. I'll move it to this side. So, the point is that arginine has a nitric oxide that gets cleaved off. The nitric oxide causes dilation of the blood vessel with the sodium, with the potassium, drives water through the vessel to the muscle. The potassium, the glucose, gets uptaked into the muscle, causing it to swell. All right, there's a few more points to this, right? We all know about arginine. Agmatine sulfate upregulates the enzyme that cleaves the arginine to get the nitric oxide, and citrulline back converts to arginine once the arginine pool is depleted. So I put in all three. I also put in beetroot, which has just nitrates. So you get a threefold pump phase technology, instant, 20 minutes in, 40 minutes in, but I've also upregulated the enzyme that makes the nitric oxide. So no matter what, the longer you use it, the stronger it gets, especially if you're using the Thor's Hammer morning product for men. That also will upregulate the effectiveness of this pump. Now, I'm not going to get into all the ingredients, but I'm talking about just pump. Now, the other thing is, we talked a little bit about hormones. This has stuff in here which upregulates GH release, upregulates IGF-1 ingredients like betaine, that's going to upregulate hormone release, like IGF-1, growth hormone from Maris alba and kudzu, things like that. And what we get is the hormones that build muscle will be there and present, and to drive water into the cell. L-carnitine has also been proven, L-carnitine L-tartrate, the kind I use, has been proven to upregulate androgen receptors as well, so that the hormones released from the heavy lifting gets absorbed into the muscles you want them to, and not like hair cells or prostate cells or any of that kind of stuff. So the point I'm trying to make is, unlike other pre-workouts, I use ingredients in this not to simulate hormones, but to direct the hormones to where you want them to go for muscle building. Now, the fifth most important thing is also got a price to it, but it's illegal. I would say that would be Anadrol. Anadrol would probably be, it's an anabolic steroid. It's considered one of the most dangerous liver toxic things there is. So because it's liver toxic and dangerous and illegal and a prison sentence and a black market, people think that's the secret. Truth is, if you use Anadrol but you don't have water, sea salt, carbs, and maybe even a pre-workout, you're not going to get the same results. That they're in descending order. And the reason is because you need to have the water. You need to have the sea salt just to be a functioning life form. I think to get a pump, you need to have carbs. The pre-workout is going to be the huge game changer. If you already have some carbs, some salt, and some water in your diet, then the pre-workout is going to make a huge impact. More so than the Anadrol would. But Anadrol is very useful and can stack because it works in different mechanisms. It binds to the androgen receptor that I've upregulated with the L-carnitine. Other point, it also has some type of thing to do with the water cascade that changes how your body metabolizes water. And I don't know if there's anyone who is an excise expert on that, but I think it causes a lot of intramuscular water retention rather than extracellular water retention. And that's one of those flaws of Anadrol that they haven't really pinned down why. The other 6 on the list is going to be insulin or Humalog, specifically, not Humulin. I think that's too long acting. Humalog pre-lifting with a very low dose, if you're definitely going to have carbs mid-workout, will help you get a pump. However, it's dangerous. If you get your dose wrong, you can die. You can faint, hit your head, and die. I know people who have fainted, hit their head, and died, who fainted behind the wheel and died. Period. They could be the healthiest person on earth, but you fuck around with insulin, you die. So if you want the free stuff, it's water, sea salt, carbohydrates. Fenris Fury, I designed to make the best out of any pump possible. Anybody who lifts weights and goes to failure, or does high reps and doesn't go to failure, if they got water and sea salt in them, and with or without carbs, they're going to get a sweet pump on Fenner's Fury. And that's Valhalla-labs.com. And if you were going to go black market, Anadrol is probably the best one for a pump of all the illegals. And then after that, the sixth line would be IGF-1 or Humalog. But again, now you're risking your life. So you definitely have your carb science down pat. And as far as I know, there's nobody who knows how to use that stuff safely.